Want to step into the trunk, please?
Please. I have one kid, please.
You do? Well, you're lucky. You be sweet to him, especially your wife. My husband wasn't sweet to me. Look how I turned out. Now go on. Get in there.
Oh, wait a second. Excuse me. Oh, wait a minute, officer. Could I have your belt, please? Extra ammo.
Oh, good idea.
And could I trade glasses with you, maybe? Thanks. Okay.
That it?
Uh-huh. Right. Officer, I'm real sorry about this. I apologize also.
Howdy and welcome to the Bencher Movie Club. My name is Ben.
My name is Charlie.
And today we're talking about the movie Thelma and Louise. I'd love to be able to do accents, wouldn't you?
It was an accent.
No, but proper accents. You know, like some people can go like Irish, Scottish, like Welsh, Scouse, you know, and like, you know, you say, okay, do that one, and they can do every single accent.
Yeah, well, if you want to do Scouse, you just sound like a radio, don't you? Yeah. What are you talking about? Hey, that.
Anyway, before we offend anyone else, yeah, this is the Bench Movie Club. Yeah, today we're going to be talking about the 1991 movie Thelma and Louise.
Yeah. Well, starring Susan Sarandon, who was, of course, in Rocky Horror Picture Show, Stepmom, The Client, and Geena Davis, who was in The Fly, League of Their Own, Long Kiss Goodnight, and they were both Oscar nominated for this as well. But
yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. Who did they lose to?
They lost to Jodie Foster for Silence of the Lambs, which also another great film that year. So there's quite good films that year. I think there's a few other films that year as well. The 90s was quite good for some really big like movies, like this type of stuff. The 90s was very good for like a lot of action, classic kind of movies.
I think the 90s is probably my second favourite decade for cinema.
What's your first?
I think 80s.
80s.
It goes 80s, 90s, 70s.
60s?
60s maybe, then noughties. It's all like works
probably there's probably noughties more than... What do you like from the 60s? You probably don't like stuff from the 60s. So maybe I like from maybe the 50s.
The Hitchcock films.
Oh, the Hitchcocks. Oh, okay. So like sort of 50s and stuff like that. And 40s.
And
50s
60s.
Probably. 50s, yeah, 60s.
Yeah.
I like all decades, which I think it's nice to actually like all the decades.
Yeah, but I mean, as I said, if I'd done a list of like my top 100 films, I reckon percentage-wise, there'd probably be slightly more... There'd be slightly more 80s, and the next one would be 90s, I reckon.
Yeah.
And it was largely because I grew up in the 90s. But this is a great 90s film from the very beginning of the 90s. Directed by Ridley Scott, who directed Blade Runner, Alien, Martian, Gladiator. And he was keen to do this because he didn't want to be pigeonholed as just someone who does sci-fi and fantasy. Because obviously he'd done things like them.
Was this one of his first big sort of breakthrough films?
No, he'd done Alien.
Oh,
back in the 70s.
Yeah.
And then Blade Runner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, this is completely different to them, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very science fiction.
Yeah.
And like horror. Is that classed as horror?
I'd say the first one is very much.
Second one's more.
It's like Vietnam
comedy,
in space.
Action, adventure, comedy,
Romantic comedy.
Romantic comedy, rom-com.
Yeah. Both Susan Sarandon and Geena Davis actually took extensive lessons in driving and shooting, which makes sense.
Yeah.
And Ridley Scott, who, as I said, directed this, he was just one of 40 who were considered to direct it, including Brian De Palma, Sidney Lumet, and John Carpenter.
Okay.
Who else is in this film is Harvey Keitel, of course, from Taxi Driver, Pulp Fiction, and Dusk Till Dawn, amongst others. Michael Madsen of Donnie Brasco, Reservoir Dogs, Kill Bill. He, of course, was in Reservoir Dogs with Harvey Keitel. And because Harvey Keitel was a producer on Reservoir Dogs, and this was just before it, I think there's every likelihood they met on this set, and he's considered him and said, I'm actually doing a film called Reservoir Dogs. You'd be great for Mr. Blonde.
Yeah.
Which they are both great in that as well. Christopher McDonald, who most people would know as Shooter McGavin from Happy Gilmore. He plays Thelma's husband.
Yes.
Yes.
They was actually engaged in real life. years before this film, they was actually engaged in real life, which I don't actually put them two together. I wouldn't have, I suppose, but I'm going by the character. I don't know what he was like.
Yeah.
His character in this is very like Homer Simpson.
Yeah.
He's very caricature.
Yeah.
You know?
He's got the moustache and everything, isn't he? Yeah.
But they was actually engaged once. I think like in the 80s they was engaged, which is quite weird.
I think he's a great comedic actor.
Oh yeah, he's very good in this.
Yeah. I mean, people, as I said, most people know him from Happy Gilmore.
I don't know that. I've heard of it. I don't know it.
Think of it this way: imagine like a wedding singer.
All right.
He's like the Glenn of Happy Gilmore. He's the villain, the rival guy. But it's to do with golf. But I think in this he's much better because in this it's, even though he does a great comedic performance, it's a realistic comedic performance. You know.
Oh, he's funny. He is funny.
Yeah. You got Stephen Tobolowsky, who, as I mentioned before, was Ned Ryerson in Groundhog Day.
Right.
The one who keeps coming up to him every day in Groundhog Day, remember?
Who's in this?
He is the FBI guy who's working alongside.
Okay. Yeah.
He was also in Memento, Mississippi Burning. You, of course, got Brad Pitt. This was his breakthrough role. Mm-hmm. Went on to do Fight Club, Snatch, 12 Monkeys, Ocean's 11. And he fought off a lot of people for this. Most notably, it was down between, in the end, him and George Clooney, who were finalists to play JD after loads of auditions, and finally Brad was picked.
Yeah, I think George Clooney actually came into audition 5 times. So he was right down to the last. I think maybe the last 2, it was probably him and Brad Pitt, maybe another 1 or 2 as well.
Yeah.
But they obviously was interested in him because they kept bringing him back. I think it was Geena Davis that actually chose Brad Pitt though. It was her that actually had to say so. I went, right, Brad Pitt. Yeah. So she chose him.
But when George Clooney, he couldn't watch it for years because obviously feeling gutted that he missed out. When he finally did,
he wasn't that big at the time as well, was he, George Clooney? Was he?
No, he'd done Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Oh yeah,
he looked completely different. When he was younger, he had like this long black curly hair. So
yeah, he was in episodes of like the Golden Girls, Roseanne. He was in lots of like comedy stuff. Didn't he do? Is it not ER? What was it?
Yeah, ER.
Oh, was it ER?
That's what launched him.
That's what made him. But
that was after
famous.
this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So at that time when he went for this, he hadn't, like, no one would have known his name. No.
You've also got Timothy Carhart, who plays Harlan, the guy who tries to rape Thelma at the beginning. He was in Hunt for Red October, Beverly Hills Cop 3, and loads of people who were fans of Ghostbusters would know him as the violinist in Ghostbusters, the one who Sigourney Weaver is kind of dating. And Bill Murray, when he meets him out, he goes, "Who's that guy? Who's the stiff over there?" And it's him. Plays a completely different person. He's got this little nasal thing.
Okay.
In this, obviously, he's sort of like this deep south, brooding, sort of very pushy bloke. Beau Bridges was considered for the part of Hal, Harvey Keitel's part.
Yeah, the only thing I know him from is
Fabulous Baker Boys.
Fabulous Baker Boys. Him and his brother, Jeff Bridges and Michelle Pfeiffer.
Obviously, Jeff Bridges.
That's a good film. Yeah. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good film.
Yeah. Obviously, Jeff Bridges went on to have a much bigger career than Beau Bridges. But also considered for the part of Hal, David Bowie, Pierce Brosnan, Tim Curry, Robert De Niro, Richard Gere, Dustin Hoffman, Steve Martin, Jack Nicholson, Al Pacino, James Woods. So it looks like they just said anyone. Because they're completely different people.
Completely different, all of them.
Yeah. The film centres around Thelma and Louise, who go on a road trip, and despite like Thelma lying to her husband, you know, she's obviously like a downtrodden housewife, and Louise is very sort of cautious type of person. We find out later through something that happened to her
in Texas.
They stop off at a bar on their road trip and decide to have a few drinks, and Thelma's sort of enjoying herself, and this guy tries to take advantage of her, takes her out to the car park, and as he's getting really pushy, Louise comes to her rescue, and he's sort of very dismissive towards her.
Mouthing off,
and he says something, just triggers Louise, and she shoots him.
Says I should have fucked her anyway or something like that, innit?
Which makes me think now...
I should have gone ahead and fucked her, that's what he says.
There might have been something, maybe it was something he said reminded Louise of her ordeal.
Yeah, you find out, she was actually raped.
Yeah, so
right.
that's why she was so upset and why she done it.
Yeah.
And they drive away, the police and the FBI come after them, and they come across a series of events like meeting people, and eventually along the road it's a journey of self-discovery.
They start growing as people, especially Thelma. I think she's gone from this downtrodden wife to her character completely changes. It's believably as well. It's done in a believable kind of way. It's like she finally wakes up.
I think they're both fantastic in it.
Yeah, they are.
And Jodie Foster's great in Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
But I think they're sort of on par with her. It could have gone either way. Although the thing is, I think it was best to give it to Jodie Foster, because if you'd give it to Thelma or Louise...
Yeah, they were both brilliant.
Yeah. Maybe if they gave them a joint nomination...
Yeah. No, that was really good in it. And it basically ends up sort of... Not a very happy ending, very well-known ending, obviously spoilers. They end up just going, like, you know what, fuck it, let's just... And they drive off the cliff at the end.
Because they was getting chased.
By the helicopters and all the police. And even though that the Harvey Keitel's character, he really he wants to help them, and he really genuinely does. He sees that that they've been pushed to this. Yeah. Because basically, like, all their money gets nicked by Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
And all these little things that sort of push them to that cliff right at the very end. But it's a fantastic film. It made such a big impact. I mean, when people watched it, it was like everyone. It was very big for like sort of female empowerment. It was a very big, and you can see why that is. It's a very, very powerful film. But yeah, no, I love this film. That's why I chose it. It's a film that I've always loved, and it's such a long time ago now. What is it? It's 30 odd years ago, 33 years ago. Yeah, very, very long time ago.
Well, talking about the ending, studio wanted a more upbeat ending, and Ridley Scott even considered having Louise pushing Thelma out of the car at the last second and just driving off on her own.
Yeah, but then that's not fair, is it? So then one would... You have to add bits to it, don't you? No, but then that wouldn't have been fair.
It's not poetic.
No, and also, she's then going to be like put in prison for life or whatever, for killing that other bloke, and their mate's dead.
Getting raped in prison and stuff, yeah. No, it's good ending, because Louise obviously is considering a shootout. She's like, I'm going to go down shooting, like how you would in like Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kids, something like that. But instead, I like Thelma's like, no, just keep going. Yeah.
It's like they both, ain't one is deciding, they've both decided, they're both sort of going, come, let's just go, let's just keep going, we've got nothing left now.
Don't let them shoot us, don't let them.
We choose our ending, this is our ending, we're choosing it. It's very powerful. I mean, I've loved the film for such a long time, and it's one of my favourites, really, I think.
Yeah, that ending always gets me as well, because it always sort of
powerful.
Up.
And the music, everything about it. I actually bought it once. I bought the alternative ending on DVD. This is what con artists, all these like filmmakers are. He said, alternative ending, Thelma Louise, and you think, I wonder how else it's going to end. What's the alternative ending of it going over the cliff? And the car goes like that in the film, just up. In the extended version, in the alternative ending,
it keeps going.
It just starts going down like that, and that's it. It stops. About an extra 2 seconds worth of car, but their idea behind it, their reasoning behind it was they're soaring. Yeah. Whereas the car starts going down, so it's like they're crashing. Well, it's
they're going to crash, but
it's a bit of a naughty way of making you buy a DVD, going, the special ending or something. It's.
And that ending, Susan Sarandon improvised the kiss, because she said she came up with it, and she told Geena Davis, she said, I think, I should kiss you, and then we drive off, and don't tell anyone. So they didn't tell anyone. They've just done it.
I think as well, a lot of people have misinterpreted that. A lot of people say, they kiss because they was in love, they love us. It's like, no, you don't look too much into it. They love each other. They love each other like sisters. I do not see it being anything other than that. I mean, people, I suppose, you can take from it what you will. Like, I honestly do believe that it was meant just as a sisterly love kind of way, like I love you, like you're my sister kind of thing. And this is like, it's not about a sexual thing that they've been hiding all their lives. It ain't like they're deep-rooted sexual...
No, because there's no hint towards
that. There is nothing. There's no hint about that towards either of them. And it's...
I think the only people who think like that are just people who aren't emotionally intelligent enough to grasp that. People, especially like younger people, might look, oh, I wonder what that means. Oh.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, look, as I say, people can say whatever they want about it. If you want to interpret it that way, you can. But I honestly don't believe that was the way it was meant to be interpreted.
No.
And... it's just a kiss between two friends, you know?
Which with women ain't that big a deal.
No.
Jason Beagley, who's played the state trooper who pulls him over and they make him get in the boot.
Oh, yeah.
He improvised the breaking down bit, because originally he was just supposed to put his hands up, get in the boot, and they show it, but he just like...
which adds to it.
Yeah, it's brilliant, because it shows this sort of big, strong, bravado man, how really, when push comes to shove, he's like a snivelling little kid. He's like, please.
Yeah. That is funny. I didn't know that he improvised that part. That's good.
Probably another reason that they wouldn't have changed the ending as well was that Susan Sarandon made Ridley Scott swear not to change the end before signing on. She said, I only sign on if you keep it as it is.
Yeah, well, it ends. You can't do a sequel to it because there's nowhere else for it to go. The story has been told and the story's finished, and that's what I like about it.
Yeah, but if studios had their way, they'd make a sequel. They'd have it.
The car flew away like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
No, there was like a ramp at the bottom, and they landed perfect. Wow, I can't believe we've done it.
Yeah.
You know, but no one in their right mind would sign up for it.
No,
this is why I just think films in general should be left alone. There are some fantastic sequels in this world, and you know, some of my favourite films are sequels. But in general, I'd happily get rid of all sequels.
Yeah, but no, some sequels are good though.
They are
Back
good.
to the Future 2, Terminator 2,
Aliens.
Aliens.
No, I've just said that. Some of my favourite films are sequels. But despite that,
I think it's the third. I think if you find with films, it's usually the third film is the letdown. If you look at all like the trilogies, and it's usually the third one is like,
yeah, but there's
it's
loads
okay, but it's like the second one is usually pretty good. The third, it's like, no, you've jumped the shark now. You've just pushed it that little bit too far.
Well, more often than not, the second one is just a retread of the first one anyway. Just where people go, I want to experience it again, but slightly different, and that's pretty much what they give them.
Yeah. The woman that taught the actresses to line dance was called Patrick Swayze. Oh, I've given it away now, haven't I? Patsy Swayze, obviously Patrick Swayze's mother.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, by saying the name Swayze, you know it's going to be, innit? So...
The film was shot over 3 months in California and Utah. I've been to both of them.
I think the cinematography of this film is absolutely amazing. It's like the shots. It's just, you can feel like, you know, like the bit when they're singing, was it with the Ballad of Lucy Jordan, and it's the nighttime driving. You could just imagine that warm
summer's air,
and it's just that quietness, and that it's just, you can feel what that feels like, and I love that. That's powerful when you can actually sort of feel what they are feeling. Do you know what I mean?
And you appreciate that more now, where we've had such a long crap winter, where it's just dragged on all the way up until it dragged up until May, and now at last hot weather's
Get a little bit of sun. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, contrary to popular belief, this is not the first movie that shows someone taking a selfie. It was done in National Lampoon's European Vacation in 1985. Because a lot of people always said, oh, this is the first selfie film, because there's that bit when she's getting in the car and they take.
But this is a lot better
picture
than that film, so.
Yeah,
let's forget that.
Okay, okay, well, this is the first selfie.
So,
yeah, the first selfie that matters.
This is the first time that anyone ever took a selfie.
Yeah, okay, cool.
On film.
Brad Pitt was highly embarrassed when he got an erection during his sex scene with Geena Davis. So, I bet it was a little bit.
I got an erection during his sex scene with Geena.
Yeah, I suppose that's got to be quite hard. Literally, yeah. No pun intended. But you know, like
well, especially if you're right into the part,
and it was his first major film as well. This was his big breakthrough, so he was quite new to it.
And she's an attractive woman as well.
Yeah.
And I don't think she minded. She
obviously didn't mind. She probably thought, oh, that's all right. Did you know that Geena Davis separated from Jeff Goldblum the day after this film wrapped? So they was obviously at the end of their marriage.
Yeah,
at
I
that point
originally thought
anyway.
they were together a little bit longer than that because I remembered them being together and 90...
I thought they was together for about 10 years. Or is that...
Maybe, because I know they was in Earth Girls Are Easy and The Fly together.
That's how they met with The Fly, wasn't it?
Possibly.
Was it? Or was it
Earth
they
Girls Are
together?
Easy?
I don't know.
But yeah, I love the soundtrack to this as well.
Yeah,
like
fantastic
you've mentioned
soundtrack.
those songs. I was listening to it again through my headphones on the way here, and like it captures that part of America at that point in time perfect. You know, I think the lyrics for pretty much all these songs, the songs were very well picked because like then you got like a Better Not Look Down, B.B. King.
Yeah.
And you're thinking that song is saying like, don't stop and think about what you girls have done because you're going to start panicking.
Yeah.
Just put your foot down, keep going. If you want to keep flying, keep going.
And they're all different, the songs. They're all different tempos. They're all different genres. And that it works. But I've got Wild Night as well when they're packing to go, which is like a 60s sort of sounding upbeat kind of song, isn't it? Like a girl group sounding kind of thing, which I like that one as well.
My favourite one on there, I think, is the Ballad of Lucy Jordan.
Yeah, I love that
Marianne
song.
Faithfull.
Love that song.
And like when you listen to the words of that, you think
Yeah.
that could be the Geena Davis character, almost like it's like she's this suburban wife.
Yeah.
And what is it?
It's just like she's existing. It's like with a lot of people, I think that they look at that and they go, this is just like just going through the motions in life. But yeah, that's a fantastic song.
She's probably meant to be about 37 anyway, isn't she?
I think she's probably supposed to be younger. I'd say she's probably supposed to be about a bit younger than that. I'd say she's probably about 32.
Right.
I think. I'm trying to think I think she's probably the age she was. So I don't know how old. I think maybe she might have been about 37. Maybe I think Susan Sarandon was probably about 45.
Yeah.
I'm thinking she's probably that sort of age group.
Something that connects...
I don't think there's any songs in it that I don't like. I think they all work. All the songs.
They all work. They set you in that mood. They set you in that deep south. Because I love the deep south of America.
Yeah.
Especially the accent. If I met a woman with that accent.
Y'all come back now. You hear? No, you can't. I can't do it.
My daddy's at the town.
My daddy says I'm the best kisser in the county. That kind of thing.
No, not that weird. But like just that idea of like a good old country girl, and I think there's a lot of similarities between the deep south and Britain and England, old English sensibilities. Because there's loads of English settlers were there anyway, but they sort of modelled their manners. That's why they was very polite. Like, howdy ma'am, and they're always very polite to women and stuff like that. It's something that's like an old English tradition. You got it's a man's a man and looks after the woman.
I don't think that's anything to do with England, though, is it? It's not
it is.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Why are you sort of?
I don't know. No, I didn't know. I didn't know that was.
It's they consider themselves sort of to have modelled themselves on that sort of.
Because don't know I'm talking like that in England now. There's no one with like respect.
Well, no,
to
but
manners
I have
now.
respect to manners.
I do.
It's like I always give up my seat, and I always go, right, darling, there you go, and I'll put, you do, you act.
Calling someone darling now, you probably like get in trouble.
I don't care.
I hope.
I feel an affinity with that part of the world, and I love going there. I love travelling. I've been there a few times.
And you've driven down that sort of same sort of road as her, really.
Pretty much.
You might have actually driven the same at some point along where they've drove in that film.
Could have done. First time I drove from Dallas, Big Spring, Albuquerque, up to Colorado and back down to across to the 4 Points, Grand Canyon, down to I remember we went Arizona. We went to Phoenix, Arizona, Lake Havasu, Vegas, over to Los Angeles, up to San Francisco. And my favourite part that was the first trip. I won't get to read out all of them because we've literally been all over the place. But I remember that first part, driving through the desert, trying to take a picture of it on your phone, it just doesn't do it justice.
No.
I mean, even that picture.
You should have a Thunderbird. Like a nice open top car like this.
No, it's a bit extravagant. And
is it?
Well, you think you're going to be driving through the desert for hours.
Yeah, but how nice would it be? We have the roof down.
Yeah, but you want a reliable, brand new car. You don't want a car which could suddenly break down halfway through the desert and you're like...
Yeah, that'd be part of the fun of it, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I suppose. There are other films, like Hills Have Eyes and Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Brad Pitt's first day on set was the interrogation scene with him and Harvey Keitel.
Oh, nice.
So that was his first scene that he shot.
Going back briefly to Hans Zimmer's score,
Yeah.
a connection between Ridley Scott and Tony Scott, his brother, is that Hans Zimmer done the score for this and True Romance, which came out a couple of years later. And also both films had small cameos by Brad Pitt.
Yeah, that's true.
When the script was touted around Hollywood, it was regarded as two bitches in a car.
Well, and that's why it didn't get picked up then. You know?
Well, I would have still seen it, but
Yeah.
I think it's, you know...
No, I think this is more successful, the title of this one.
Yeah.
Michael Madsen is proud to be in this movie, especially because he's playing against type. Because I think all his other films he was quite sort of brutish, like gangstery, sort of, you know.
Yeah, like
Types of
particularly Reservoir Dogs.
And this shows his softer side.
Although in Free Willy, he was sort of like the nice...
He didn't want to do that film, did he? Wasn't he contracted
you know
to
what's
do it?
It weren't Free Willy, it was... I think it was Wyatt Earp. It's because he was contracted into Wyatt Earp and shooting was going on that he lost out for Pulp Fiction. Because
He sure wasn't Free Willy, because I'll tell you something, I'll tell you why. Because I remember on the old Big Brother, and he was in it.
Oh, yeah.
And it had Sonia from EastEnders asking silly questions to people.
Yeah.
Like she told these two Playboy twins, and she said, "Oh yeah, I'm in Playboy as well over here." And I was looking at her like, "Oh, okay." Like she goes, "Yeah, like I've done the UK version of Playboy." And I was looking, going like sort of okay. But and then she said to Michael Madsen, she goes, "Oh, I loved you in that film Free Willy." Because apparently he was pissed off for being in that because he was contracted to do something else, and he was contracted to do that, and he missed out on something really big. So I think that's what it was.
Well, yeah, because obviously in Pulp Fiction, you got Vincent Vega.
Yeah.
His character in Reservoir Dogs was Vic Vega.
Right.
He was meant to be the same character.
So that should have been Michael Madsen.
Yeah. Ridley Scott first signed on as a producer back in 1980. So it was a long time before.
Wow, 11 years. That's a long time.
And he had Natalie Wood and Tuesday Weld in mind for the leads.
Well, Natalie Wood, she died a long time ago, didn't she?
Yeah, but obviously 1980 she was still alive. It was a few years later that she died. Callie Khouri, who wrote the script, she wrote back in 1979. So that's how long.
Bloody hell.
Well, really? Is it that long?
12 years?
12 years.
Maybe.
12 years ago it was 2012. So it's the same distance between. So if I wrote a script back in 2012 and I finally got to make it now, I'd think I've written scripts much older than that and they still haven't seen the light of day.
Actually, you know what? At the end of the day, it worked. It's not like oh, if only they'd made it a bit sooner. I think they made it at the right time.
Yeah, it feels like a proper 90s film.
Proper got a 90s feel to it. And it needs to have a 90s feel to it. I think as much as I love the 80s and the 70s and all that, it's a 90s film. And it should be a 90s film. There's certain films like Titanic should be a 90s film.
Yeah.
You know, like Silence of the Lambs, 90s, Misery, 90s. They've got something about them. There's a feel about all them films like Pulp Fictions, True Romance. There's something about all them films, that they couldn't have been made in another decade. I think they needed to be made in the 90s.
Yeah. And
there's something about the feel of it. Well, we had some great films in the 90s, and you don't realise until you look back and you think, bloody hell, we had loads of really big blockbusters, really big, really good actors. At the moment now, it's just the same actors. It's just like Tom Hanks in everything. It's like Tom Hanks in everything.
Guess what? He was in everything in the 90s as well, Ben.
Yeah, but there was more people in stuff as well. You had like Jack Nicholson, you had like Michelle Pfeiffer, Cher, Susan Sarandon, you had Robert De Niro, you had a lot more people in stuff in the 90s.
Yeah, but those are them people. They were relevant before the 90s, weren't they?
No, exactly, but there was more of a choice. Now it's just Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
This film was originally supposed to star Meryl Streep and Cher. Streep turned it down to do more comedic roles, and Cher turned it down to focus more on her music career.
So the comedic role was probably Death Becomes Her?
Yeah, I think she was looking for stuff. Apparently her and Goldie Hawn looked at this film as a possibility to do this, but then they settled on Death Becomes Her, which I'm glad, because the two in this are perfect. They would have made it their own. It would have been good, but Death Becomes Her is fantastic with them two in it.
Something's like crossed over in me, and I can't go back. I mean, I just couldn't live.
I know. I know what you mean. Anyway, don't want to end up on the damn Geraldo show.
Yeah.
They're charging us with murder.
Ooh.
Yeah, they say that we gotta figure out if we want to come in dead or alive.
Gosh. Did he say anything positive at all?
Well, I'll tell you who was on the list to play Louise. These are the people they considered.
Yeah, go on.
Ellen Barkin, Kim Basinger, Lorraine Bracco, Glenn Close, Angelica Houston, Helen Mirren, Mary Steenburgen, Deborah Winger, Bridget Fonda, Diane Keaton, Kay Lenz, Kelly McGuinness, Catherine O'Hara, Renee Russo, Vanessa Redgrave, and as you mentioned, Cher.
Okay.
You did say Cher, didn't you?
Yeah, yeah.
And for the part of Thelma, they considered Kim Cattrall, Mia Farrow, Jessica Lange, Liza Minnelli, Isabella Rossellini, Meryl Streep, Lily Tomlin, Tuesday Weld, Rosanna Arquette, Phoebe Cates, Nicole Kidman, Joan Cusack, Farrah Fawcett, Carrie Fisher, Daryl Hannah, Barbara Hershey, Tracy Ullman, Kelly LeBrock, Andy McDowell, Madonna, Sybil Shepherd, Meg Tilly, Kathleen Turner.
Quite a lot of people, weren't there?
And John Goodman.
And John Goodman.
No, not John Goodman. I think for this, they considered a lot of various people. For all the roles, they sort of opened it up. So it's almost like they didn't have set in mind who the characters were going to be. Because if any of them had played the parts, they would have been slightly different characters.
Yeah.
You know, their mannerisms would have been different.
Funny enough, you saying that, Jodie Foster and Michelle Pfeiffer were chosen for the leads and they accepted the roles. But pre-production took so long that they had to drop out due to other commitments. Michelle Pfeiffer said that passing on this film is one of her biggest regrets. Now, looking at this, Jodie Foster must have passed on this for Silence of the Lambs. If you think there's probably, because that came out the same year, because she won the award for Silence of the Lambs, and this was also, they was nominated for this.
I think I would have seen Jodie Foster as Louise and Michelle Pfeiffer
as Thelma. Oh yeah, definitely.
And you know what would have been funny if that had happened? When she talks about the incident that happened before, when Jodie Foster was referenced
like before, The Accused.
People go, is this a sequel to The Accused?
Yeah. Oh, they would have been brilliant in it because they're both fantastic actresses as well, and so they would have made the roles their own. They would have been just as good. It's just we see it as Geena Davis and Susan Sarandon, so they've done such a good job. You don't need to change it, but they would have done a good job as well. I do believe.
I think it's probably their best performances as well.
Yeah,
Susan Sarandon and Geena.
It's powerful because it's, as an actress as well, it's got to be so rewarding when you can put so much into a character that changes from the start of the film to the end of the film. You actually physically see them change. And emotionally you see them change, and it's like they look like completely different characters from the beginning to the end of the film, you know. And they're fantastic. They're really good at it, really good.
Considered for the role of Max, we had William Dafoe, John Travolta, and John Voight. And considered for JD, who we mentioned before, the two finalists was Brad Pitt and George Clooney. They also considered Christopher Atkins, Kevin Bacon, Scott Baio, Alec Baldwin, Tom Cruise, Johnny Depp, Robert Downey Jr., Sean Penn, Mark Ruffalo, Christian Slater, and William Baldwin.
There's a lot of people on board for this then, weren't there? But I think they've done the right choice. Everyone in it, there's no one that I look and go, they're a bit miscast. They're all perfect.
No, but
Harvey Keitel, Brad Pitt. As I say, for Brad Pitt, this made him a household name. Because after this, then he started doing loads of other stuff. I'm sure he would have come along in something, but this sort of catapulted him to stardom, basically, because no one would have known his name, no one would have known him, you wouldn't have seen him in nothing, and then you see him in this film, and all of a sudden he became this superstar. Everyone was like, wow, who's that fella?
It gave him a chance to sort of actually play a character, because he had been in things, but he's obviously, very, famously pretty man. He's probably considered one of the most attractive men in Hollywood.
He's got like a James Dean look about his face, hasn't he?
But people often sort of refer to it like when.
But he didn't like being that, like Johnny Depp. They like to act against that.
Well, this is what I'm... Yeah, so with this, it gave him a chance to go, yeah, I will use that as part of my tool. That's what reels are in, but I'm actually a bit devious. I take this off. And then, if you know... Yeah, like what Johnny Depp done, is after that, Brad Pitt would pick roles, not necessarily playing up to his appeal. Sometimes he would do. There'd be the odd thing where he plays like a romantic lead, but then otherwise he plays like the stoner in True Romance, just sort of out on the couch. He plays the detective in Seven, you know, who gets bashed up anyway and loses at the end of it. Fight Club, you know, and Snatch, where he plays the traveller, the boxing traveller and stuff like that. And, you know, to his credit, he won't sort of just trade on his appeal, his looks. He will keep trying to push the envelope. 12 Monkeys, he's great in 12 Monkeys. The role of Jimmy, they also considered... Now, you've got to bear in mind, Jimmy is obviously Louise's husband, Michael Madsen.
Her boyfriend, yeah.
So each of these people, he suddenly changes his character altogether. Chevy Chase, I think, well, we wouldn't be the same. Kevin Costner, yeah, I could say it. Rick Moranis.
No.
Bruce Willis. And Chris Christopherson.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Chris Christopherson was offered the part of Jimmy, but he turned it down.
Yeah. But, he's a singer as much as a actor, isn't he?
I know the name, and I can't think why I know his name.
He's a singer.
Chris Christopherson. Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
When the film was released, producers of a low-budget movie, Assault of the Killer Bimbos, almost sued the producers because the plot was so close to their film. So,
great film.
have you seen it? Yeah, classic.
Sounds great, though.
Yeah, but they pulled out, I think, because of the amount of money it's going to cost. I mean, a little company like that, a little sort of B movie, whatever, I ain't going to have the money to sue a big film like...
I mean, you don't know. We listen to the title and we think, that sounds terrible. But for all we know, it could be almost beat for beat, the same film. And think,
it sounds like a carry-on film.
Well, maybe it was.
But it sounds like an American carry-on film.
Yeah.
The trailer presented the film as a comedy.
Which it kind of is. It has got comedy elements.
Think so?
I think it's very fun. It's
I wouldn't put it as comedy. Oh, there's bits where you laugh, yeah. I think because you need a little bit of light-hearted stuff going on for it. And usually it's to do with the husband. It's always his parts.
Mark Kermode always says that for something to be classified as a comedy, to be a successful comedy, he has to laugh 6 times throughout the film.
Okay.
I think it's possibly have 6 times when you laugh throughout the film.
It's usually her husband, though, isn't it?
Yeah, the husband falling over, the husband sort of
changing...
changing...
When Pitt goes, oh, yeah, I enjoyed your wife.
Yeah. Or when he's changing the channel, and while the cops are watching some weepy film, he puts on the sports thing, they'll look at him, he's like, oh, sorry.
Yeah, he does on purpose.
Or it's like the bit where they blow up the guy's tanker.
Yeah,
there are
there's some funny bits in it.
But I think it's because it doesn't just rely on the comedy.
It gives you just enough light relief because it's quite a deep film.
Yeah.
So you need them little bits of light relief, yeah.
Without that comedy, it'd be quite depressing probably. But you got the funny bits and you got sort of there's like heroic moments. It's like punching the air. You think, yes, she's done that. Yes, she's done that. Even when Thelma goes in and robs the place, you think... And she's saying she gives the same routine that JD had told her. Yeah. So he's taught her. I love how their characters change, and I don't know, like this always reminded me of our mum and our Aunt Maxine. Like our mum playing like Louise and Maxine like sort of Thelma, because they're very similar. Like she's sort of similar sort of shape to Maxine as well, isn't she? Geena Davis. She's that kind of look, and like mum, I can imagine that if they was. I can imagine them as them. Do you know what I mean? I always, when I was young, because they was like them sort of characters. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. If as babies they were put in those situations and they grew up the lives that those two women had. You'd see it like that. Because something about them two just reminded me of Mum and Maxine. And if Dad was like about a foot taller and he had thousands of pounds to give away to Mum, then it was also Michelle Pfeiffer's idea that Ridley Scott direct the film instead of just be the executive producer. Because obviously when she was on board with it, because she was meaning to do this film. Yeah. So. But he's a fantastic director, Ridley Scott. Yeah, he's done a really good job on it. Yeah, but I mean in general, he's up there as one of my favourite directors. He's made some of my favourite films. So yeah, I highly rate him, and this is up there with one of his best ones. Yeah.
You women crazy.
You got that right.
We think you should apologize.
I ain't apologizing for shit.
You say you're sorry.
Fuck that!
You say you're sorry, or I'm gonna make you fucking sorry.
Oh, Jesus.
I bet you even called us beavers on your CB radio, didn't you?
Yeah. Sure did.
Damn, I hate that. I hate being called a beaver, don't you?
You gonna apologize or what?
Fuck you! Oh, God damn you, bitch!
I don't think he's gonna apologize.
Nah, I don't think so.
Ridley Scott watched the film Badlands from 1973 for inspiration for the look of the film. Now, Badlands, I don't know if I've seen that. Have you seen it?
No, but isn't there a song on the soundtrack called Badlands?
Yes. It's one of the instrumental ones, I think, isn't it?
No, it's a song.
Oh, it's a song called Badlands. I've got a feeling it's got Sissy Spacek in Badlands.
Right,
I don't know why I'm thinking that. I don't think I've seen it.
No.
But I do believe it's got Sissy Spacek in it. 5 identical cars were used for this film. So 2 of them, I think, we went over the cliff.
Yeah.
And the others were used. I think one was sold. I think the others probably sold.
They should have given one to each of the actresses.
Yeah.
They
could have done. They could have done, really, I suppose.
Yeah.
I wonder if they left the car down the bottom of the cliff, though. Do you reckon they would have done that?
No.
Yeah, but if it's so far down they can't get to it, how are they going to bring it back up?
No, because they probably weren't far down. It probably wasn't like a canyon. It's probably like a cliff face like this. So look, if the car drives off, crashes there, they just drive up this road.
But if you couldn't get to it, would they just leave it there?
No,
because they'll go, oh yeah, we picked it up. Who's going to know they haven't?
No, because it's the country of suing people. All it would take is like the local council or whoever at the state goes, oh well, you shot that film there. There's a Thunderbird down there. That's cost us X amount to clear up. Blah blah. And they.
I like the idea that it's still there.
Yeah, I doubt it. I mean, you could have done.
Yeah.
If you was savvy with wherever it was shot, say if it's in Utah, that part, you say, right, you know what, you can leave the car where it crashes. We're going to build a little museum around it. Have like a little gift shop.
You wouldn't be able to see down it, would you? You wouldn't be able to.
No, but I'm saying if it was like something like this,
like that, oh, okay,
you'd have a gift shop and people come out there. You know, have photos done in the car. Well, it would have been burned.
It would have been battered up by then.
Yeah.
Ridley Scott assumed a body double would be needed for the sex scene, but Geena Davis insisted on doing it herself. Hence, Brad Pitt getting an erection.
Hence.
And she was like, oh no, we didn't do that right. Can we do it again? Can we do it again? Because as I say, she was at the end of her marriage with Jeff Goldblum, so she was sort of
they might have been
coming alive again.
By the time when they started filming.
Aye?
They might have been happily married at the start of filming.
Oh, okay.
And he's watching the dailies thinking, all right, you're getting into it a bit. You know, the script says...
Look what happened with the other Brad Pitt film. In
Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yeah. I've never seen that either.
It's okay.
Is it?
It's okay. Some people...
Was it worth their marriage failing?
Oof. No. I don't think any film is worth someone's marriage failing.
No. Then they had kids with that one, didn't they? I suppose things happen for a reason, don't they?
He had kids with...
Angelina.
Did they have kids?
Yeah,
or did they just adopt kids?
No. They've got lots of adopted kids.
Yeah.
But I think they got twins and another kid. I think they got 3 biological kids. The bit where Daryl slips and falls on building supplies was real, and it looked so good that they kept it in it. Now, I remember that bit, and it does look really good.
Yeah.
It's like the bit in Wedding Singer. You know, when he falls off the wall. The drunk bloke.
Yeah, Steve Buscemi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that looks really good. I reckon that probably was a bit of a slip, but it looked so good that they've gone, that's it.
As long as you keep going, that's the thing as an actor. If you slip up or if you say something stupid or something hits you, best thing is to sort of incorporate it. And that's what he does. He starts shouting at them, I want this cleared up by the time I get home.
Yeah.
So probably by the time when Ridley Scott finally shouted cut when he drove off, he probably thought, that's brilliant. Much better than I thought it was going to be, or the previous.
A professional actor would carry on like that because they probably would know that's going to look good. And you're not going to be able to fake that again.
No.
You know? Right, so what do you like about this film then, Charles?
I like the sort of how it draws you in slowly. You know, it's straight from the beginning. You like the characters. Yeah, they're not perfect characters by any means, but you start rooting for them very early on. And you know, I'm not into man bashing at all, but I like that they are the victims of this male-dominated society. You know, that moment in time it works. This is why the film wouldn't work as a remake. If they made it now, they'd lean in too hard about evil men and stuff. Whereas in this, not all the men are bad.
No.
Harvey Keitel and Michael Madsen, both their characters are good. Michael Madsen gives them the money and says to Louise, you know, I don't, you know, you ain't got to tell me anything. And funny enough, originally they were supposed to have sex the same time that Geena Davis and Brad Pitt were having sex. But Susan Sarandon said, no, I don't think my character would. I think they're slightly more mature. They're going to be having one of those deep conversations. And they came up with the story. They came up with the conversation. They say
in the morning.
Yeah, but also throughout, like when you cut to their hotel room, they're arguing a bit and stuff. That's how she wanted it, you know. And Ridley Scott went with it.
It works.
Yeah.
It
so,
works.
but like I said, the Michael Madsen character, he's a good guy. Harvey Keitel's a good guy. Yeah, the other ones aren't necessarily. They're out for themselves, or they look down on women or whatever, and they get their comeuppance. So I like that it shows. You know, not all guys are arseholes, but it's the arsehole men that have driven them to this life.
Yeah, you know, because they've killed themselves, you know that Harvey Keitel is going to be on that Brad Pitt's character the rest of his life. He is going to be like sort of on his case for the rest of his life now, because he's going to blame him for the death of the girls.
Yeah, but I also think that, you know, he's quite a mentally, he's emotionally intelligent person, Harvey Keitel. Yeah, I think he knows that Brad Pitt wasn't deliberately trying to cause them harm. He was being a typical sort of selfish chancer, thinking, oh, get some money here, yeah, of course I'm going to run off with it. I mean, he is a thief at heart. I don't think Brad Pitt wanted the girls to sort of die.
I know, he wouldn't have wanted them to die.
So I don't think Harvey Keitel would have a vendetta against him.
Yeah,
I think he'd just be really peed off. He'd be peed off with the FBI guy for not listening to him as much, saying, listen, let me talk to the girls.
Yeah.
You know, let me get close. Let me be the go-between, because I don't want anything to happen to him. He'd be annoyed at the husband because he'd think, well, you're clearly a factor because you're a knobhead. Again, Michael Madsen, he thinks, well, probably at heart, he's thinking, I would have done what you would have done. I would have gone down there, given them the money. Look, don't tell me what's going on, but here's the money. Yeah. You know?
No, it's a brilliant film, and it holds up still really well.
Oh yeah, it does.
You know, it doesn't date at all. It's its own little time capsule.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot, as you said, like a lot of them films I mentioned earlier. There's something about it that it just really works. Yeah. Everything about it, it's just perfect. I think the music, every single song that was chosen, all the actors that was chosen for it, the storyline, and yeah, I just love the whole thing, and I love the fact that it is just one film. Yeah. There's no sequels to it. There's no sort of prequels. It's just what you see is what you get, and I love that about it. Yeah. But I'm glad you liked it then. On IMDb, it got 7.6 out of 10. So
I think it should have been a bit higher. I'd put it about 8.
I thought it would have got more than that. Yeah.
You know, I think it's a lot better than what some people give it credit for. I think some people just sort of, mostly people who haven't seen it, or might have seen it once when they were younger and not really took to it, but I think some people just dismiss it.
It was a very big film, mate. It was a very successful film. Yeah. Rotten Tomatoes, you got 86% by the critics, 82% by the audience.
Yeah, see, so that's more like it. That's good. More like the 8 out of 10 sort of category.
Yeah, pretty good. The budget was 16.5 million, and it made 45.4 million.
So it's a good return.
Yeah, so it's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'd be immensely proud if it was part of my film catalogue. If it was something I'd either made or been in, I would have gone, yeah, I'm really proud of that. It's right up there. Yeah.
As you mentioned earlier, I think it's probably their best performance that I can think of both of them, especially Geena Davis.
Well, yes, I've seen some Geena Davis, like, she's really good in The Fly.
I like Geena Davis. I think she's a good actress. I like her in Beetlejuice. I like her in... she's in a thing called Long Kiss Goodnight. I don't know what that's like.
Yeah,
that's like the assassin type film.
It's similar kind of thing, yeah. I've seen that. It's Samuel Jackson in it as well. That was, I remember at the time, that was one of those films where it was a record amount they paid for the book. I can't remember how it was, but it was millions so that they could make the film out of it.
Right,
And because of
gotcha.
that, the film didn't succeed that well. She was in a few notable flops.
Okay.
There was like, and I think there was Cutthroat Island, something like that, with Matthew Modine. And you think it's unfortunate for her because especially when I was younger, I used to put her on par with Julia Roberts. So I'd say, like, if she'd had the roles that Julia Roberts would have had, and vice versa, she'd be as big as her.
Yeah,
you know. For that moment in time, if you look at early 90s, they was.
I think Julia Roberts is more attractive.
I don't. I think Geena Davis is more attractive.
Yeah. I mean, Geena Davis, I think, is attractive in this film. She looks really attractive in this film. And she is attractive, but I think Julia Roberts, there's something, I don't know. I can't imagine Geena Davis being like Pretty Woman or Notting Hill or, you know.
See, I could. It's just in a different taste, isn't it? But yeah, I think Geena Davis personally, but not by miles. It's marginal. This is why I always think of. It's like when you think of Robert De Niro, you might think of Al Pacino. They're not the same person, but it's such. They had such similar careers, similar path. That early 90s, her and Julia Roberts had a similar path, but then Geena Davis, unfortunately, had more flops, whereas Julia Roberts, obviously, with Pretty Woman was huge.
Yeah.
I mean, that was back.
She was proper successful, didn't she? She's got loads of films under her belt, hasn't she?
Erin Brockovich, Notting Hill. So she
My Best Friend's Wedding.
She started hitting.
Sleeping with the Enemy, loads of stuff. Flatliners. She's been in quite a lot of films, hasn't she? And Susan Sarandon out of this as well, I suppose, out of Geena Davis, Susan Sarandon, her career is she's got a lot more films under her belt, I think, than Geena Davis.
Yeah.
Like she's in Rocky Horror Picture Show, which is a V-Swick. What other films is she in? Stepmom. She's in
Dead Man Walking.
Dead Man Walking. She's in quite a few films.
She was in that episode of Friends.
Yeah.
She was in that series you said about Envy.
Oh, she's fantastic in the series Feud.
Oh, Feud, sorry.
Feud, yeah.
Betty
she
Davis.
plays Betty Davis.
Yeah,
And it's her and Jessica Lange playing Betty Davis and Joan Crawford, and it's like the making of the film Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. Fantastic. I think it's a 6-parter. Brilliant.
Is she still with Tim Robbins?
I don't think they're together no more, but I think they was together for quite a while. What are you choosing next week then, Charles?
Well, this film made me think about... This is one of the films I do like watching before I'm about to go on a road trip, which I am in a little time from now, about 8 weeks. And another one that I like watching, which gives me the idea of driving through America, but it's a lot more darker, is The Hitcher.
Okay.
From the 80s, starring Rutger Hauer, Thomas C. Howell, Jennifer Jason Leigh, which could be like the Twisted Sister film to this film.
Yeah, I think you made me watch that years ago. I vaguely remember it.
Obviously shot a lot earlier than this. This was back in the 80s, but it's something about it just really eerie. I think I first watched it late at night and it was a stormy night and it was just perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect setting for this film. And I highly rate it.
Okay, I'll give that a go next week then. If you could please follow us on Instagram, on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. If you like and subscribe for us, please, and we'll get more people to see us. And if you could please
do a big share.
Yeah, big share.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll catch up with you next week. Thank you very much for listening, and see you later.
We're just going to say it in Texan actually. And y'all be back now. You hear?
Y'all come back now. You hear?
Yeah. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, then, listen. Let's not get caught.
What are you talking about?
Let's keep going.
What do you mean?
Go.
You sure?
Yeah.